Hey there, I'm Ryan. I'm co-founder of Vaer watches, and today I'm going to do a quick getting started guide for your D4 or DS4 solar dive watch. I have here in front of me our D4 Meridian in 38 millimeters and our DS4 Meridian in 42 millimeters. Now, for the sake of our getting started and operation of the watches, they have relatively the same operation and functionality overall. So I'll use the D4 for example. So you're looking at this watch. The first thing is the bezel. Now these watches and all of our dive watches have a unidirectional bezel. Now what does that mean? That means the bezel only spins one way counterclockwise. Now the purpose of that for diving, if you're trying to set a dive timer to see how long you've been under the water, you only want the bezel to spin counterclockwise so that your time will only go down. If your time went up, you could accidentally stay underwater too long and run out of air. So that's the original function of that unidirectional bezel. Now, I personally haven't used it so much for diving. A lot of people these days use dive computers for that, but you can use it for plenty of other things, marking the time when something happens, using it as a quick timer. It's just a cool little extra tool to have on your watch. Now going into the actual timekeeping of the watch. Now these watches are solar powered, so something you may notice is the dial of the watch is actually slightly transparent. Now the dial is where the indices are and where that Vaer logo is. It's slightly transparent in order to allow light to get through and charge the watch. And so a key point here is keeping the watch charged. Now these solar watches, both of them have awesome reserves. I believe the DS4 is 4 months and this is 6 months when it's full. And so in order to have it charged, it simply needs light exposure. Now it's approximately 6 hours of sunlight for 6 months of power reserve. So it doesn't take much. Something that is important to note, upon receipt of your D4 or DS4 watch, it may not have power. Either the second hand may be jumping at 2-minute increments, twitching, or stopped entirely. That's completely normal. Simply put it in the sun or under light for a day or so when you get it. Again, if you have bright sunlight, it doesn't take a full day. 1 hour, every 1 hour of sunlight is about a month of charge. Now, if you don't have access to bright sunlight, if you're in a cloudy or overcast place, that's also okay. The solar watches can be charged by down to candlelight, lamp light, any lights within your rooms. So anything will work. They just need regular light exposure. So we don't recommend storing them, in a dark drawer or anything like that. It's always ideal to have it stored in some kind of environment where they get light. Now, in terms of functionality, in order to change the time on the watch, you'll have to open the crown. Now, as with all Vaer watches, they're equipped with screw down crowns. And so in order to change the time, you'll need to unscrew that screw down crown. Now it's absolutely critical that this crown is screwed back in before any water usage. In order for our waterproof warranty guarantee to be honored, that crown must be screwed during water exposure. That is what keeps the water out. But to change the time, you can unscrew it, go ahead and pop it out and change the time. Super simple. Set the time to wherever you are. When it's set, pop it back in. And then again, I'll show you from this angle because you can see a bit better. Press toward the watch while screwing it down. Now there's no need to crank it down. You'll kind of feel when it's tight, and that's enough. You don't need to really force it in. There are gaskets in that crown. Those gaskets connect and create the water resistance. Now other little features here, you do have a screw-in case back. Now the beauty of solar watches is you don't need battery changes, so you may never need to open that case back. But if you or a watch technician did, standard case back opener tools would allow you to. That case back is also gasket sealed. Now some of our D4 models do have date window. This is the D4 Meridian 42 millimeter. It does have date, you see there. In order to change the date, you'll go through the same operation as time changing. You'll unscrew the crown. You'll pop it out to the first click and go ahead and rotate it, and that date will change. And then the second click will be time changing. Now, one important thing to note, you may find that when you set the date, it could be on the wrong cycle, so that instead of changing at midnight, it's changing at noon or vice versa. In order to alleviate that, you'll simply rotate the time forward by 12 hours. You'll see rotating the time forward will also change the date. Let's get that all the way around. And you'll see the date just changed there. So if you're on the wrong 12-hour cycle, just adjust the time forward 12 hours and it will get you to the right cycle. And that is date operation. So that's a high-level overview of the D4 and DS4 watch in terms of operation and functionality. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the comments or shoot us an email to team@vaerdesign.com. Please subscribe to the channel, and if you'd like more information, go to vaerwatches.com.